Ahead of COP27, we have our latest Ipsos global poll out, which we've run in 34 countries. We've asked citizens if they support or oppose a list of very diverse policy initiatives to combat climate change. And these range from government subsidies to make clean technologies cheaper, or changing product pricing to reflect, green products being made more affordable, or environmentally damaging products becoming more expensive, or incentivizing green investments, etc. So that we've asked citizens across 34 countries on their support on a range of policy initiatives. And the real story here, and the shocking story here emerging, is that while there's support in many countries on a lot of these initiatives, what we're seeing in Canada is very, very different. The majority of Canadians do not support most of these initiatives. At best, one or two of the listed initiatives get a very slim majority, but for most of these policy suggestions, less than 1/3 of Canadians are supporting these. And that indicates that Canadians are not as engaged as they should be in the climate debate and calls to action. In fact, they are literally in the bottom 5 ranks out of the 34 countries. Intuitively and on the surface of it, we know that economic concerns in Canada and around the world are dominating the news and the political agenda. Inflation, interest rates, state of the economy, and to a considerable extent, even healthcare. These are the most dominating issues, taking over the entire concern list. And in this context, where Canadians are grappling to manage their expenses, there is no appetite for further price increases. And that definitely plays a role in steering that attention away from something that is not considered the most immediate and the most important right now. And, when you're struggling to put money on the table, and there are murmurs all around you that, there is going to be a recession, and in fact, those murmurs are growing into louder cries. So it's a matter of what's more important right now, and important enough to overshadow everything else. And a lot of experts are questioning, is action on climate change going to be stuck until the economy is no longer an issue? And we can debate that. But I think there's something more important at play in Canada, because inflation is a concern in many other countries, but they are still taking action and they're forging ahead on climate action. So what is the unique thing that's happening in Canada, or the lack of what's not present in Canada? And I think that it's the lack of a concerted effort to make the case to Canadians on what really needs to be done. And we are talking about a rigorous communication and education campaign, consistent, at scale, to get the truth out to the public. Overall, in Canada, when I compare it to other countries, it's pretty consistent that Canadians overall are trailing behind most other countries. But if we are to demographically see which age groups, or which provinces are more likely to support, then I'd say our younger age groups, who are more active, more socially active, women, and that's consistently seen across social purchasing, social investment. So women and younger age groups are more likely to support further action and policy initiatives. And in terms of provinces, we don't see many differences, except that Albertans are the least likely to support, changing and penalizing the citizens on to further climate action. As you would have guessed, our neighbor US is, along with Canada, at the bottom of the pile, and US is no different in terms of inflation challenges too. And a lot of times in policy as well, we tend to be, we tend to follow the US reactively or proactively. So Canada, US, some of the other European countries of Germany and France, even Brazil from Latin America joins at the bottom of the pile. And at the top, we see most Latin American countries, Mexico, Chile, Colombia. We see even Indians leading the charge on wanting to really take that action. And there is a notable consensus at a global level that really the responsibility for educating the public on climate change lies with the government, with our elected officials, with our ministers, with our local governments. And that's the case for Canadians as well. Canadians are calling and they look up to their government, their ministers, to tell them what's right and to lead the path, to forge that path ahead for them, despite all the commitments and buzz around climate change and action. We saw that less than half of Canadians truly believe that there's going to be a real change, even after 10 years. So if I don't believe that a real change is going to happen even after a decade, then why will I be willing to, accept a personal penalty on my pocket today